Now, as you know, we've been on the trail of the presidential candidates in Nigeria's 2023 general elections as they start to kick off their campaigns in what promises to be arguably the biggest event for Nigerians this year and the next. But as millions of Nigerians and Africans assess who is likely to be the next leader of the continent's biggest economy and most populous country, people are also looking at Nigeria to see how many women are likely to become elected. Currently, only 7 out of 109 senators and 22 of the 360 members of the House of Representatives are women. That is desperately weak compared to other African countries such as Rwanda, where 61% of people in parliament are women, and in Tanzania, women hold more than 36% of seats. So is 2023 likely to be any different in Nigeria? Are more or less women going for elected offices in that ballot? For more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by Bolanle Aliyu, who is a former governorship candidate in Oyo State, a former special advisor to the governor of Oyo State, and a former House of Representatives aspirant. And currently, she's the national chairperson of the Atikulated Global Movement. And she joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me, Sir Charles.
Lots of formers in your sort of intro there.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I wonder whether that's got to do with what some have suggested is a fairly crowding out experience of being a woman in Nigerian politics.
We have to keep going on. You know, we find out the men, they don't give up. So we can't give up, either.
Is it instructive, though, for somebody like yourself who's been an advocate, and not just in words but in deed, of women taking the step into politics and into leadership positions? Is it instructive that none of the frontline candidates has chosen a female politician as their running mate, including your candidate Atiku Abubakar, the person you support?
I would like to let us know the fact that we've been dragging this issue since 1999, where we've been clamoring for the 35% affirmative action. Luckily, the regime of Obasanjo, with His Excellency Atiku as the VP, was actually more friendly towards we women. Apparently, each state governor was asked to nominate a woman for ministerial position, and funnily enough, only 2 or 3 states nominated a woman. So that is why this time around, I was part of the women that joined, the active NGOs who were at the National Assembly advocating for this, the Constitution to be amended. I was part of them there because, I was like, the power is actually in the hands of the governors in each state. I actually made a video and pushed it out, speaking to each governor that, please, before the primaries, sit down and go through your aspirants and choose some female aspirants amongst them. If they had done that, we would have seen more women emerge. However, hopefully, once we've won the election next year, we will see more women coming in, because His Excellency Atiku has said it many times wherever he speaks. He tells, he says it to women and youths that, look, when I get there, I will bring you all in. And I believe him, because this movement, for example, his daughter is the national leader.
Yeah, well, he could have done that by choosing. I mean, if you look at his campaign council, it's dominated by men. If you look at his,
that's why.
If you look at the people who are working closely with him, it's dominated by men. So
yes,
it would have been good to see that.
Oh, it's not over yet. We're hoping, hopefully they'll form a wing for the women, so we can have women in the council. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, but in that sense, that still isolates the women as a sort of, alien species that you've got to create a special sort of thing for. Why don't you just get them in and give them leadership positions?
So this is why
I mean, you would have made a good vice presidential candidate, given your pedigree. Well, why didn't he?
Let me be governor first in 2027.
but I would have thought that you'd be more aligned with the more progressive movements that are trying to overturn the old order and introduce a new type of governance that would support both women and the youth. I mean, are you confident that you'll find that kind of leader in Atiku Abubakar?
Definitely, I'm confident in that. And look, we have to be realistic. I contested in 2019 under a new party called National Interest Party, if you remember.
Yes, I remember having you in that seat.
Our presidential candidate is Barrister Eunice, who stepped down for Atiku in 2019. And after that election, it dawned on me, and it made sense that, look, whether you like it or not, is either Party A or Party B. In the United Kingdom, you have two parties major, and they've held on to power for so long. Same thing with America as well. So I joined the PDP in 2019 after the elections, joined His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde to work with him and for him. And I've done that for a few years. And I believe PDP is the one that that's going to give us more women who will be part of the new government in 2023, by God's grace.
So I mean, I don't mean to keep banging on it, but you support Atiku Abubakar, and you have his assurance that he'll be more progressive when it comes to putting women in leadership positions than the other candidates. You've compared the other candidates, have you? Or you just
I don't need to compare the other candidate, because left to me, I know it's either Party A or B, and it's going to actually be PDP. We need someone who has experience, someone who's been in government, someone who's been in business, because that's the most important thing that I hold on to for me to key into the Atiku dream. I've been in business since the age of 20. So I would like to see a leader who's a businessman to come on board and begin to create factories.
Well, all the others, I mean, they're all businessmen, aren't they? Peter Obi is a businessman, Tinubu is a businessman.
A three-in-one man then. Atiku's a three-in-one man.
I like that. Whatever you say, he's just my candidate.
Civil servant and also a businessman.
Yeah. Right. Why do you, let's just finish the bit about the women, and then I want to come and talk a little bit about what you're doing in the campaign. Why do you think so few women enter politics? Because there are two things here. There's whether or not they're given the kind of support they need when they get in, but there's also the issue of, very few actually venture into it, and when they do, that's when they then realize that there's some prejudice or whatever.
So I call it my 3 F's.
Right.
Fear, frivolous offers, and finances. The fear aspect, many women are afraid of being killed on the mission. And I tell them, look, something's going to kill us one day, whether we like it or not. So you have to be bold and you have to be courageous to stay in Nigerian politics. The second one is the frivolous offers some will get. If you want a position out, you'd have to do X, Y, Z. And that's not going to happen, because the women I train or I groom, I let them know that, look, we're not going to do that. If you're truly coming into politics to give back to society, you have to make sure it's done properly.
Absolutely.
And the third one is the finances. You'll find many women were prudent with our finances. Like my primaries, I wasn't ready to spend ₦1 million per delegate to vote for me. I was like, no way. If the governor couldn't assist some of the women to emerge, if they had the capacity, because I'm not for just putting women in elective positions. I am for making sure those women have the right thinking, they have the right manifesto, and they will deliver. So if the governors couldn't do that, then why would you gamble 36 million on 36 delegates when you don't even know if you'll swing your way? Rather take that 36 million and pump it back into the foundations that have been running for decades. So I think those are the reasons why some women think twice, and and then considering all what many of us have gone through in various states, if you listen to the stories, you'll be like, oh my God. Some have even died actually from some illnesses after the primaries, and you'll be like, oh my God, why are we in this thing? But you can't give up. If truly you have a calling or you have a mission to be there, then you have to keep on. And that's what we're doing.
Right. So what do you think can be done to put things right?
Like I said, one, the Constitution, we wanted them to amend it. Unfortunately, you have less women in the House that would, the yeses will be smaller than those who will say no. So for it to happen again, it has to be the governors in each state that needs to look at whoever has aspired as a female and groom them right now until, we have another primaries coming up, and push them out, basically.
Well, okay, let's talk about what you're doing in the PDP campaign. It was flagged off in Uyo on Monday. Tell us about your involvement in the campaign.
So this is what we decided. After the primaries, we thought to ourselves, we said, look, we've all lost our primaries. This is aspirants all over Nigeria. We've lost our primaries. Are we going to give up all the structures we've built? Are we going to, abandon it all and just go away till after the elections and then you try again in 2026? No. So we all decided we're going to use our resources and pump it into the presidential candidate and other candidates going downwards, governorship, etc. I spoke to His Excellency's daughter, Ajia Miriam Atiku Abubakar, told her about this movement. She loved it straight away. We started planning together and strategizing, and we cooked up Atikulated Global Movement, shortened for AGM. It was meant to be for aspirants alone to start with, because one of us, who is actually the national secretary, was an aspirant. That's Lady Emana Duke Ambrose in Cross River. She aspired for House of Representatives, lost the primaries, and a few days later she became a deputy governorship candidate. So we had to merge, we had to now make it AGM for aspirants and candidates united. So it's a movement for both male and female who've aspired for any position, ranging from governorship all the way down to State House of Assembly. And we're funding it ourselves. We've put up some billboards all over Nigeria for His Excellency Atiku and Okowa. Yes, and we're moving daily. We've also started a unification process, because we met His Excellency Atiku and we told him about us uniting aspirants and candidates, because we've explained to people, we're like, look, if you're relying on 14 rep candidates to win your election in a state, then you're going to lose. However, for every single local government that a candidate emerged, a minimum of 5 to 10 aspirants aspired. So why not bring these 10 aspirants to work together with that candidate? You will win that election if we do that. So we've been uniting. We've moved down north central Nigeria, southwestern Nigeria, and we're also going to continue into the northeast, because various states, plenty problems. A lot of people not happy with their governors, their leaders. Many things happened during the primaries. However, we're telling them we have to look past it, because this election needs to be won by all of us. And currently we have over almost 3,000 members in this movement, and it's growing daily. We're asking more to join up and be part of AGM, so that we can usher in the new government and also be part of those who will, decide on some key important policies that we can come up with and say, look, Your Excellency, we all delivered elections for you. See the results we have from our wards, down to our polling units, down to our local government. Like, for example, I'm coordinating my state or your state, and also I'm holding my ward. Local government, I've had to share with other aspirants, because in my place over 10 aspirants aspired for reps. So I've had to share, each one of us, we're holding our awards by ourselves. Like the gentleman who just left now, Prince Will, he said you can't rely on just the young ones on social media to vote for you. You have to educate them about various things. Now, the benefit of AGM, we are grass-rooted politicians who've been aspiring for various things before. So we definitely know where our polling units is, what we need to do on election day, how to block violence coming on election days, because guess what? The opposition, they will bring violence when they know this is a strong PDP zone. But we know how to stop it, because we actually know those people they're going to use there, because they're children or youths in our areas. So there's a lot of benefits with AGM.
Well, it sounds very interesting. It sounds like something you've actually properly thought through. And you and your group say you're going to aggressively canvass for votes. You intend to carry out door-to-door programs, and you're pledging to deliver a rather ambitious 37 million votes. I mean, that sounds almost impossibly difficult for one group to deliver, especially given that many of your members are not even in Nigeria, because you're a global movement. I mean,
the majority are in Nigeria, actually. The majority are in Nigeria. The diasporans are going to be supporters. So they're probably going to be, they're hopefully going to be the ones to call people they fund or sponsor and say, look, vote for Atiku Okowa. The reason why we know that 37 million is easy to get is because we have a minimum of 100 of us per state. So 100 of us per state to deliver 1 million votes is simple. If I had emerged as a House of Representative candidate, I needed 40,000 votes to win my election. So if you divide 1 million votes by 100 aspirants in that state, plus the candidates that are also going to work hard as well, if you divide 1 million votes by them, it's basically under 10,000 votes that they have to deliver. So that is why it's easy. And in various states, people who registered, for example, in my state, I believe over 5-point-something million registered for voters' cards. So why can't we get 1 million votes out of there? So in some states, we'll have 2, 3, and in other states, we'll have 1 million or maybe a little bit less. And when you lump it up together, you have 37 or more.
Well, I can see your eyes blazing with ambition.
Oh, yes, because we're going to do a lot of door-to-door. We're going to be knocking on doors and telling them why Atiku is a better candidate.
Right.
We're going to have a mini A5 flyer printed in different languages, Yoruba, the major languages, and give it to them door-to-door and tell them, look, do not waste any vote, because we do need all the votes together. We need to lock up the vote so that it's not spread out.
But beyond sort of campaigning for Atiku, that's why I talked about your eyes blazing with ambition there. I mean, what's next for you politically? Because, I mean, you've tried several times and failed to get elected for whatever reasons.
So the first reason, I contested under a new party. So like I said earlier on, any new party or any new party trying to pick up now, it's not going to work. It's either APC or PDP. So for me, I'm definitely forging ahead. I'm not looking back. And I will definitely be the governor of Oyo State in 2027, by God's grace.
Well, I hope it all goes well for you. As I said, with those eyes blazing with with ambition, who knows what would come about. But Bolanle Aliyu, who is a former governorship candidate in Oyo State and now the national chairperson of the Atikulated Global Movement, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sir Charles.